And for a second time, they got underway very quickly just then. No pre-warning from Richard Phelps, the umpire on that one. It was just up and go. And Ben Davison just looked like such a cool, calm customer there on the start line.
I mean, that was tough, wasn't it? He called that very quickly at that point, and you know, it's a shock then. You're off suddenly after that kind of, are we going, are we not going? But look at that absolute focus on the face of Ben Davison. He has raced the single at the World Juniors, at the under-23s. He was bronze in the men's single at Poznan World Cup. So, you know, he has huge experience in that single scull. And, you know, he wants to take on the Diamond Challenge Sculls event at Henley this year.
And what a great project for him, coming straight out of that US men's 8 from Tokyo, from the Olympic Games, going from the biggest boat there is, rowing just with one oar, down to the smallest boat there is, into this, you know, tiny boat where it is just you, the blades and the boat. It's a huge change, both psychologically and physically.
Completely different, that's right. 4th in the men's 8 at Tokyo Olympics, 5th in the men's 8 the year before at the World Champs in Linz. And yes, going a very different path now, but actually in a way perhaps going back to where he started, where he was a sculler in the juniors. You know, back in 2013 he was the World Juniors single sculler, he came 6th. 2014 World Juniors, in the under-23s he raced, he came 7th, 2015, 2016. So, you know, it's natural perhaps for him to be here in the Diamond Challenge Sculls, but now we're having a look at his opponent.
Yeah, Maciej Zawojski there, the face-off, and what a great story for him. Him and his wife have been hosting Elena Buriak and her husband as Ukrainian refugees, allowing them the opportunity to continue training. They will be racing in the Stoner Challenge Trophy. Then we'll see them hopefully later on. But look, he's giving Ben Davison such a great race here in the single. He's out of the Polish men's quad. They finished 6th at the 2018 World Championships. And the other thing that I'm always so impressed by is these athletes that do multiple disciplines. He does coastal rowing as well.
Yes, that's right. He was in the World Rowing Beach Sprint finals in the solo and the mixed double with his wife in 2021. So, I mean, that's attracted, hasn't it, a lot of people from the sport, a lot of our top athletes who want to be part of this really exciting, growing part of the sport. But yeah, Zawojski is chucking in the pushes here, really putting the pressure on Ben Davison.
Yeah, and Zawojski just, you know, he's been kind of consistently sculling that little bit longer, Kath. You know, when you're jumping in and out of sweep boats, sculling boats, he's been in the quad, so still a sculling boat, despite it being a bigger one, whereas Davison in that 8, now in the single. It's not just as easy as snapping your fingers and jumping back in, is it?
Well, I think, you know, you've always got to adjust, and then you've got to adjust again for the Henley course, for being in match racing, for being kind of side by side, for being on this water that you know, is a little unpredictable. I mean, both got really impressive style, but different styles. So Ben has almost, I would say, kind of more of a lightweight style, that sort of super smooth, efficient, and, you know, actually a little bit more of a kind of power style when we look at Zawojski.
Yeah, and we're going to have a quick look at the way that Zawojski's sculling now, and it just that little bit more controlled, I would say. You know, you've just mentioned how Ben Davison of the USA looked a bit like a lightweight, very lively, very upright on it, whereas Zawojski, very long and strong, you know, a very characteristic sort of style here of the Polish men's rowing and sculling. He looks fantastic.
Punchy, isn't it? Quite using a lot of shoulders there, I'd say. A lot of tension perhaps in the upper body, and, you know, in his mouth and his jaw. You know, he's breathing hard, he is working hard, and they are, I mean, literally putting a lot of pressure on each other down here. They're sucking up each other's pushes, and they're trying to push one back. And now I think it's Ben who's just taking the lead and edging ahead. I think he might have a little bit more efficiency going on with the way he's sculling at the moment. And over this course that, you know, 2,112 meters, you need to have some efficiency.
This is an incredible race here on the Thursday of Henley Royal Regatta, the first day of the Diamond Challenge Sculls. And I must say, Kath, it is so rare to see a race this close at this point in this event. I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it? But we have got 2 international class athletes who are, you know, really ready for this. I mean, Ben, he's got the edge, isn't he, now? He said it's been 17 years since an American won the Diamond Challenge Sculls.
you know, he's aware of that. We're all aware of history and how history gets made in Henley, and Ben has that on his mind at the moment, and he's got that break, hasn't he? And I think that efficiency of his style, you know, it's really helping him over the second half of the course.
And just picking up on your comment about tension and versus relaxation, just look at his face here, actually, Kath. It's so relaxed. It's
exactly
all the
jaw,
muscles.
Yeah, absolutely. The jaw, the shoulders, just as you say. Yeah, I like it. I think it's, you know, it's a real economy. It's a real stability on this water, and you know, he's in command now.
Looks like he's just shuffling back towards his station on the Buckinghamshire station on the left-hand side of your picture. And in the Scull, you need to do that with pressure. They don't have any steering wires. They don't have a steering foot like in the bigger boats. He's doing all of that just through putting a little bit more pressure on his right-hand side blade, on his stroke side blade, just to bring the boat back round. And that can sometimes disrupt your rhythm, can't it?
I mean, the single scull is the most responsive boat. So both, you know, for you rowing it, sculling it, you know, it's responsive to what you do. But of course, it's also responsive to what happens around you. So you can move around very easily. If there's a big load of wash that comes, it just literally shifts you from one side to the other. But, you know, if you spend a lot of time in a single, particularly as Ben has done, then, you know, every stroke, you're just making micro adjustments almost subconsciously to know where you need to be, just to kind of, you know, all of the time thinking about left or right, or that will be happening automatically for him. Bow side, stroke side adjustments, but he's comfortable now. He's going to be enjoying coming up to the closures with this kind of lead.
Yeah, he just had a small look there over his shoulder. I think maybe just to catch an eye on whether he was nearing the progress board. He's got a little bit further to go. And also, I think just to get a check on his line, he's been steering beautifully up until this point. Both scullers have been, and I must say the same of Zawojski of Poland on the right-hand side. But yeah, he's just having to readjust again. I don't know if the wind's picked up here, Kath, just pushing him back across to the middle.
I think it's a little breezier than it was the first race after lunch. Could definitely see that on some of the flags. But I think, you know, look, we can see some more pushes being put in by the Polish sculler, Zawojski. He doesn't want to give up here. You know, this is actually almost like home territory in that, you know, they've been training here for a while and, you know, connecting with Mikhail, who's unfortunately not been able to compete in this event. You know, really excited to be part of it. He's going to throw some pushes in, but I think Ben is in control.
Yeah, although we have seen some upsets in these final 25 strokes year after year in the Diamond Challenge Sculls, never ever right off the trailing crew at this point in the race in the single sculls, because you can overturn a margin of 3 lengths in 20 strokes, Kathy.
You really have to be so alert. Yeah, absolutely. But a really supreme row for Ben Davison. He's looking really impressive.
Yeah, and they're going to be treated to the sights and sounds of Henley. A chorus being played for them as they come through the line from one of our passenger spectator boats here that cruise up alongside the river. But in the Diamond Challenge Sculls, it is indeed Ben Davison of the USA, representing California Rowing Club, that will triumph ahead of Maciej Zawojski of Poland.